We start the exhibition with these pictures of the globe, of the whole world, and that's sort of to underscore that. From very early on, 1927, Fuller was thinking about our planet as a closed system, a unified system. And in a closed system, everything has ramifications and consequences, and there's a finite amount of resources. So the fact that we live in a closed system, the fact that we have a finite amount of resources, the fact that we're all part of one large landmass that's united, our fate is sort of tied together with everybody else on this planet, and there really isn't such thing as win and lose. We all sort of win or we all sort of lose. Fuller was really thinking about habitation scattered throughout the world and in places where people hadn't normally congregated in these sort of individual self-sustaining structures. Here you see his homes are actually being delivered by the Graf Zeppelin. So the idea was that they were so light that they could be picked up, tied to the Zeppelin, which would then drop a bomb and create a crater where he would then plant the house like a tree. The whole notion of branding was important to Fuller. I mean, he was very conscious of how he would best appeal to his consumer. 4D, he's kind of experimenting with how he's actually going to visually represent his logo, and then it becomes Dymaxion. And the word Dymaxion came about because Fuller was going to do a presentation at Marshall Field's in 1929, and a marketing consultant at Marshall Field suggested that maybe he could come up with a name that was a little more seductive than 4D. And after hearing Fuller talk about his house, he created, I guess, the contraction of the words dynamic, maximum, and ion. So just in terms of the technical side of the house, this house is a hexagon, but it's based on triangles. It's supported by a central mast, and then the weight is borne through tension cables and wires. He was really concerned about reducing the amount of time it took to care and clean for a home and providing a sterile environment for children and for your family. He calls the house drudgery-proof because it didn't have any right corners, any right angles. The dust wouldn't accumulate quite so much. In creating this whole vision of sort of global habitation and transportation and traveling with these, independent sort of homes planted all over the world, you had to have a way to get to and fro. And his idea was this omni-media transport vehicle that would ideally fly, swim, and drive. And the car was just the first stage in that. So Fuller had, during World War II, sort of put forth an idea, a way of converting the wartime industries towards peacetime industries, or what he called converting weaponry to living-ry. The result of that is the Wichita House. He put forth an idea that you could create a house out of aluminum, the same aluminum that was used for airplanes, and you could retrofit these factories and use the same workers and, again, provide low-cost, affordable housing. He really envisioned that this would be a solution to the housing crisis and that everyday American families could live in these Dymaxion dwelling machines or Wichita houses.
What he called the Dymaxion map is integrally related with his experiments in geometry. If you project the map onto a polyhedron with flat sides, then you can unfold that polyhedron into a map where the distortion is virtually negligible. If you unfold it this way, the world looks like a single landmass in a single body of water. So he called it one world, one ocean.
If you could actually see the Earth without any serious distortion, and you could see that we were all sort of, related to each other, connected to each other, then that just reinforces his notion that we're all united together. We're all on what Fuller called spaceship Earth, traveling together. Fuller was really, ahead of his time in that respect, and I think one of the reasons he is so relevant today is that we are now facing problems that we realize must be addressed on this level, so that this type of thinking and these ideas are more relevant than ever.